The Florida Gators basketball team just got one step closer to going back to back. AJ Brown, you are a Florida Gator.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. We have us in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Hopefully your team drafted whoever you were hoping they would on day one. If they traded up or down, hopefully you like that, unless you're an Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys fan. It is presently 2:15 a.m. after the first round of the NFL draft. I'm stoked for what my Giants did. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $250 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. And yesterday, we got the fantastic news that the Florida Gators landed a commitment in the transfer portal by A.J. Brown, a guard from the University of Ohio, the Bobcats, and his younger brother is Isaiah Brown, who freshman on the Florida Gators freshman on the Florida Gators reigning, defending national championship team. And Isaiah Brown, I expect him to play a larger role next season, coming off the bench still, but just an involved role, which he was not this year. But A.J. Brown, he entered the portal, 2 weeks ago at this point. And when he entered the portal, he entered with a do not contact tag. And everybody said, hey, Florida. Like just everybody just kind of chalked it up to, hey, Florida is maybe the expected spot for him there, partially because of the Isaiah Brown. It's closer to home. At the time, we mentioned that he reportedly had a good friendship with Denzel Aberdeen, but that one doesn't count anymore. But AJ Brown, 6'4", 210. I look at him as like a 2 or a 3. I don't view him as someone who's going to be a primary ball handler at all. And with AJ Brown, I'm interested to see if the plan is for him to be a starter or to come off the bench. Because I look at AJ Brown as someone who can get to the basket, can shoot threes, and is a decent defender, right? I'm not going to say he's amazing, but a decent defender. He forces a good amount of steals, which, creating turnovers is big, especially for Florida, who last year didn't really steal the ball. They forced turnovers, but up until the end of the season, they weren't getting a ton of steals. They turned it on then, but yeah, it wasn't a thing that they were just dominating with. But AJ Brown, I think, is a good scorer, but he's more of an off-ball player than an on-ball player. I mean, he's going to be offensively similar to what we've seen guys do before, where it's like, hey, you score by running into, like Will Richard, most of your points are going to come off transition drives or catch and shoot threes. That's going to be it, right? And adding a guy like AJ Brown, now that Denzel Aberdeen is gone, I'm curious if the plan is going to be more of, as we talked about guys like Ben Henshaw, who kind of a 3-and-D-ish player. Like we've talked about that, and it's like, well, maybe with the loss of Denzel Aberdeen, now they're going to look for more 3-and-D players and run more pick and pop, pick and roll, and allow Xavier Lee to drive and dish, whatever it's going to be, but to basically penetrate down low and then kick out might be more of the plan than it was this year, which again, we spoke about this, I don't know, a week or so ago, that stylistically this team has to be different, right? Because you don't have a single player that can do what Walter Clayton Jr. did. Mostly because there's not a single player that can do what Walter Clayton Jr. did. Like, it's just as simple as that. Again, Walter Clayton Jr., best guard in the country this year. You know what that means? That means that no one's doing what he can do. So you can't replace that. You have to essentially moneyball this by saying, hey, we're not going to replace Walter Clayton Jr., we'll replace him in the aggregate. Get your threes from other places, get your around the rim twos from other places, get your assists from other places, but you're still getting them. You're just getting them more evenly distributed throughout the rest of the team. Could be the move. AJ Brown, when he was at Ohio, 13.2 points per game, 3.2 rebounds per game, 1.1 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, an effective field goal percentage of 57.4%, a free throw rate of 39.1%, and he shot 82% from the line. And my favorite, AJ Brown had a 3-point attempted rate of 53.3%, which means that of all of his field goal attempts, of all of his, of all of his 288 field goal attempts, 171 of them came from three. He had more three-pointers attempted than two-pointers attempted, and it wasn't even a particularly close margin. And look, this is an Ohio team that they shot a lot of threes. They did. They like the three ball, or at least I don't want to say that they shot a lot of threes, but they had a couple of guys who shot a lot of threes. You know, AJ Brown, AJ Clayton, both shot more threes than twos. Like they both did that. And I do think that, again, when you have someone like AJ Brown now joining a Xavier Lee in the transfer portal, you're looking at guards that should mesh well, with Xavier Lee being a primary ball handler, pushing the pace. AJ Brown, whether he is starting or coming off the bench. And look, I think he's a starter quality player, right? I'm not saying that. I don't want people to think that just because I'm talking about the possibility of him coming off the bench that I'm saying he should be coming off the bench. I don't think that at all. I think he's a starter quality player. I just, at this point, I don't know what the lineup's going to look like. You know, we don't know. We know that Thomas Houck is back. We had that fantastic announcement yesterday. But outside of that, we had Xavier Lee, Thomas Houck is back, Micah Hanlogton, AJ Brown is here. We've got a couple other people that we know are coming back, but you've still got Alex Condon has declared testing waters. Ruben Chinelu declared testing waters. Denzel Aberdeen transferred to Kentucky. Elijah Martin, NBA. Walter Clayton, NBA. Will Richard, NBA. Like you've lost a lot. You've got a few guys that you know are coming back, but outside of that, you don't know what this team looks like. Like, I like Isaiah Brown, but Isaiah Brown was a freshman for Florida this past year. I don't know what he's going to develop into, just because I don't. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, I still think this is going to wind up being a team that makes a deep run again in March Madness, maybe championship caliber again, maybe. But I also just trust Todd Golden to put together the team that he put together last year. Right? So I do think that AJ Brown's a good addition. I think he's a starter quality player, whether or not he actually starts. Same thing I've said with Thomas Houck. I don't care if he's coming back off the bench as a sixth man playing power forward. If he's playing those minutes, he's playing those minutes. I don't care about anything else. We are going to talk about what might be next for the Florida Gators basketball team when we get back with Locked On Gators. Did you know that your Fire TV stick is also an Xbox? That's right. You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with a Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. You just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign in to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles from EA Sports College Football 25, which 26 has been announced, to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Avowed, as premium titles are, or as premium as titles can be, easily as you stream your favorite shows in its gaming mode made simple, and it's all on your TV. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV Stick 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. We listen to the podcast and on YouTube. As always, I'm Brandon Olsen. And like I've said, we're talking about A.J. Brown has been added to this Florida Gators team. Again, whether or not he's going to be a starter or not, I mean, that's for the future, right? But A.J. Brown's been added, and this is a team that now is looking to continue adding guards where, I mean, things have changed, right? The Denzel Aberdeen departure changed things, which I will say this. I don't like to go at the kids or anything. Like, I don't like to do that. We know this. I will say that that the report that Denzel Aberdeen's dad said, like, oh yeah, well, he wanted to play for a coach that believes in him. Just say you wanted money. Just say you wanted it. Because to even imply or to begin to imply that Todd Golden doesn't believe in him is crazy. You want proof of that? Denzel Aberdeen took the free throws to help seal the national championship game. If he didn't believe in you, you wouldn't have been on the court. Like, I mean, just stuff like that just drives me crazy because it's just so moronic to even suggest. But they did, and that's how that worked. Pretty bad, right? Pretty bad. The Florida Gators, again, are looking to add more guards in the transfer portal. This isn't a team that needs to do much to their front court. It's all about replacing the elite backcourt production that you had in 2024. One of the names that Florida's been tied to is Desmond Claude. Desmond Claude is a 6'6" guard at USC that's in the transfer portal. And his stats, 15.8 points per game, 4.2 assists per game, 3.5 rebounds per game. Of course, those aren't the stats that we care too much about. Effective field goal percentage of 51.4%, which is lower than some of the guys we've seen. But a couple things. One, I do think that part of that was at times needing to force shots. Not that I think he was, not that I think he's a Chuck, but just needing to force shots at times. And two, that he's not a good three-point shooter. He's not. He shot 30% from three. Shot 53% from two. Like, the fact that you aren't shooting well from three is going to lower your overall percentage. And it's going to hurt there if those were replaced with twos, we'll say. So that's part of it. I do think that he would be another guy that looks to be. I will say I'm torn on this. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm torn on it only because of how poor of a shooter he is. I talked about this with CJ Ingram. I think that with this team, the rule should be, hey, if you can't shoot well, you probably won't play much. But I do think that Desmond Claude does bring a floor general presence to the court, right? And I don't know, like, would your plan be, hey, Desmond Claude, you're going to be running point as well at like how Zion Pullen, Walter Clayton Jr. did? It's okay, you're both going to be like kind of point guards. One of you better shooter, so you're going to be the guy. Like I don't know how you would work that out. But I do think that he's a good player. I just don't know how much of a fit he is. That's my thing. Gets to the line a ton. I don't know if maybe the plan would be, hey, we're going to run a bunch of pick and pop. Or again, is this one of those situations where we talk about space the floor, drive and dish? You got a Desmond Claude. You got a guy who passes the ball very well, great distributor, drives and gets to the paint. Like he, and I mean, gets to the line. Like, he gets fouled a lot. He draws fouls and he shoots decently well from the line. He's shooting 67% basically from the free throw line. But then the Florida Gators are also tied to Andre Stojakovic. You know the last name, right? Like, I feel like we don't need to go further than that. Everyone hears Stojakovic and you're like, okay, move on. 6'7" wings, 17.9 points per game, 4.7 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game with Cal last year. I don't remember if I mentioned, but Desmond Claude is with USC or was with USC. Andre Stojakovic with Cal last year. I mean, just fantastic. Like this is not just getting a great transfer portal player. This is just getting a great basketball player to like adding an elite player to your team. Because we're talking about someone that shot decently well. Like again, I think that at certain points, Andre Stojakovic got into the habit of, oh, I need to carry the team a bit. I'm gonna chuck some shots, and I don't think that that's going to be an issue with Florida. Now that's not a Stojakovic or Cloud specific thing. That's just a thing that we've talked about. Of we've seen guys where it's like, oh yeah, the efficiency kind of dropped, and then you look at the rest of the team and you go, well, you're not great offensive players, so why would I trust that? Why would I rely on that? Like looking at Cal, Andre Stojakovic, not a great shooter, right? Shot 32% from three. Jeremiah Wilkinson on Cal shot 32% from three. Jovan Blackshear from Cal, 34%. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Rightus Petratus. I feel like my furniture is about to start levitating. 25.8% from three. DeJuan Campbell, 22.8% from three. Joshua Ola Joseph, 36.5% from three is their highest percentage. Christian Tucker, 36% from three. Spencer Mahoney, 30% from three. Their best shooter shot 36.5% from three, which isn't bad, right? I'm not saying it's bad, but when you look at that being, and it's also someone that doesn't have a ton of volume, 63 shot attempts from three on the year. But Florida had Walter Clayton Jr. shot 38.6%. Already your best. Will Richard shot 35.9%. Denzel Aberdeen shot 35%. Like you're talking about those guys that are within a percent, and they're not big time shooters. And like Elijah Martin, I think many people look at him and go, "Oh, you're not a great shooter." He'd be the second best shooter on Cal. Like that's what I talk about when I mean, oh yeah, some of the efficiency numbers, context matters, and the context is that they weren't on a good team, and so they were forcing shots. And I don't think that that would be an issue with the Gators. And so I don't think that the efficiency would be as much of an issue. Hell, it could get worse. It could. Maybe they're better at creating their contact and dribbling and creating shots that way. It's not what you're going to do in Gainesville, right? So, yeah. Andre Stojakovic, again, another player that gets to the line. And another player where I think, okay, well, drive, dish. I mean, Andre Stojakovic, he gets to the line. He gets assists. He's, I think, a pretty good defender. Converts at the free throw line. Shot 82% from the free throw line. Like, free throw rate, great. Effective field goal percentage is low. Assist rate's not amazing. But again, he's not a point guard. He can create shots, but he's a 6'7" wing. And I don't know if you're going to be able to secure either of these commitments, but I do think that, again, either one of them means that you are going to be a good team again in 2025. Like we're just going to let Portal God Todd do his work. We are going to talk about the football transfer portal in just a second because Florida is losing a scholarship player there as the portal ends today. We'll talk about that with Locked On Gators. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. And I love FanDuel. I've been talking about this. I mean, I made money last night on the NFL draft. Okay, let me get the odds for you. I think the odds were plus 430, but just to make sure, 450. Okay, I bet Holston Loveland to be the first tight end drafted in the 2025 NFL draft. Because I had been told a while back that there are some teams who think that he's the better tight end prospect. And I went, well, you know what? Maybe those teams are picking first. And they were. I went 10th overall to the Bears, which is a beautiful selection because I don't think that taking a tight end there is valuable. but they did it anyway. But I bet it on March 24th. Love it. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com. Claim your $250 in bonus bets today at FanDuel.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. We have us in the podcast and on YouTube. And yesterday, I think that many people, myself included, were surprised by the unexpected transfer portal entry by defensive lineman Deontre Robinson. And I think that a lot of people were surprised by, because we've talked about this before. I hate saying, oh, when a guy hits the portal going, oh, well, it's because he was losing his snaps. I don't think that's true. Deontre Robinson is someone that I think most of us expected to contribute this year, right? Played 162 snaps last year, moved around the defensive backfield or moved around the defensive line, got into the backfield. Okay, I think he's going to be a good player. I think he's got a very high ceiling. I think that he still needs a bit of work, but I think he's got a very high ceiling. Similar to how I treated Greg Smith. I was like, hey, I think he's going to be a dude. I don't care if he's gone. I don't care if he picks Miami or Florida State. I do care. But as far as my opinion of are you a good football player, that's not going to change based on where you're at. So either way, I think that they'll both be good players. I do think that Deontre Robinson has a longer road to go. But I will also say that I was told a week and a half ago that Miami was attempting to tamper for Deontre Robinson to leave Florida and go to Miami. And then I was not told that there were no more concerns, but I was told that, hey, we're not as concerned about that anymore. Great. Keep a defensive lineman. When again, don't forget, like this is one of the few positions, and I mean very few positions, where Florida went into this second transfer portal window saying, hey, we want to add someone to the room. And instead, at this point in time, you have only lost someone to the room. And that is, or lost someone from the room. And that's not a great spot to be in. Deontre Robinson last year, by the way, had the 162 snaps played, most of which were at the 3-tech, which we will talk about in a second. That's why I wanted to mention that, because I do think it's very significant and relevant there. Had 2 pressures. Both were sacks. One was Tennessee, right? Yeah, UCF and Florida State were the sacks. Okay. So you had UCF and Florida State sacks. Obviously, that means that no production against the SEC. But for everybody, because I did see quite a few people yesterday on the timeline go, oh, well, we lost a depth piece here on the defensive line. We wanted to bring in depth. That's scary, basically, right? I understand it. I do. But I also think that we're not doing a very crucial part of that conversation. Which the crucial part of that conversation, at least for me, the way that I viewed it, and I told the Insider program this when it got announced, that yes, it does hurt depth further. However, I am considerably less concerned about losing a 3-tech like Deontre Robinson as opposed to a pure nose. Right? And look, Deontre, he rotated some snaps at nose last year. I'm not saying he can't do it at all. But as far as like your primary role, Deontre Robinson is a 3-tech. I'd rather lose the 3-tech than the 0 or the 1. 0 or the 1, head up on the center or opposite shoulder of the center. 3-techs on the inside the guard. And I would rather lose the 3-tech than the nose tackle at this point. Because I don't think that the nose tackle is replaceable. I don't think it's easy to replace the 3-tech. But Deontre Robinson's gone. You can have more of these packages where you go bump in a Tyreek Sapp to the interior, an LJ McCray to the interior. If you still had someone like a Kelby Collins, like bump Kelby Collins in there. I think that you do have still more bodies that you can use that are, again, like the Tyreek Sapp style, Brian Taylor, that you can move those guys in more. Not that, not that we want Tyreek Sapp playing 3-tech, but you can move them in more occasionally and then have other people around them attack, and you can create more mismatches and more matchups that way. So that's why I go, okay, well, when the main concern is depth, you lose a guy that's purely playing 3-tech. But also, I think that you have multiple guys who can go fill that role. Whereas if you lose someone who's purely playing nose tackle, that's a really tough spot to find anybody in. And I think that even when you look at most, right, maybe all, I might be all, but most of the guys that Florida's even looking at in the portal on defensive line or has spoken to on the portal on defensive line are more so the nose tackle types. And also, I know that yesterday, also USF had a defensive lineman enter the portal. And I saw a bunch of Florida Gators fans go, "Oh, need to get him." No, thank you. Bernard Gooden, 6'1", 268 pounds. I do not want a sawed-off defensive tackle. Okay? So I will say that I'm good on it. Especially someone who has got multiple years in college, but 1 year of pretty good production. Hard sell. I'm good on that one. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free every single podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back when we're back. Maybe there's news. Maybe not. Might have a bonus show for you guys tomorrow. We'll be back when we're back. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, WNS_Brandon. I will see you all next time.